Simon Told Helen wins a half length. Zach Benelli second.
Welcome to Greyhound Gossip.
Peaky Blinders start cheering for Tommy Shelby wins the WA Sprint Championship final.
Featuring Peter O'Neill and Leia Ernest.
Mozza moves up to Mermaid Manelli. Fab's Gem 3 deep. Here comes Fab's Gem.
Hard Style Rico by 5 lengths to Simon Told Helen. Third Tommy Shelby.
This segment is dedicated to the discussion and promotion of greyhound racing.
Cindy's Oliver, Rockstar Patriot, Paul Stewart, back-to-back with Rockstar Patriot in the Galaxy.
Handsome Prince, a bolder clear. The former Tasmanian Handsome Prince has won the $1 million chase.
A very good morning, everyone. Tuned into Greyhound Gossip, and Peter O'Neill, a very good morning to you.
And a very good morning to you too, Leia, and everyone. Yes, a big weekend of greyhound racing, and looking forward to the semi-finals coming up this week of the $1 million chase, and also the final of the Adelaide Cup. And a WA bred chase is one of the favourites in the Adelaide Cup in Big Energy, who's been running some really, really quick times over on the East Coast, has drawn well in the final. In box number 3, currently second favourite, 360, along with Transponder, who's drawn box 1, and Scalacci, who's been flying recently. Drawn awkwardly, Scalacci, but the $3 favourite with Tab Touch in the Adelaide Cup final.
And we've got, speaking of WA stars, Pete, we see Sage Tennille go over for the $1 million chase as well, so we're cheering her on. I believe Cody Charles actually hopped on a plane already, so he's over east now.
Yes, she trialled sensationally. 29.66 she went there on Saturday night. Magistrate, who's a greyhound with a lot of ability and big raps as well, went 29.80. Now, just in comparison, Sage Tennille, 29.66. The favourite on Tab Touch at the moment is Postman Pat. Now, I'll just get the price up for Postman Pat with the $1 million chase. Currently $6. McKenna's at $9. Sage Tennille's now into $10. So $6 Postman Pat went 29.60. So a length quicker than what Sage Tennille did. So that was very, very impressive indeed. Sage Tennille there on Saturday night. And speaking of impressive, Elite Machine back in Western Australia, and he flew around. Obviously, Hayden King wasn't listening to Chasing Winners on Friday morning when we mentioned how well Elite Machine was going. He was a little bit shocked with the time, as a few people might have been, because it was one of the quickest times that we've seen at Cannington so far this year. And 29.50, he stopped the clock. He's flying. He won't be going across. Spoken with Jamie Marsh. He won't be going across for the $1 million chase, even though he's in the market at the moment. He'll be staying here in Perth. We've got the Group 2 All-Stars coming up, and I'm pretty sure Jamie would be hoping that Elite Machine gets an invite to the Top Gun coming up at the Meadows, and then hopefully a slot in the Phoenix as well. The Melbourne Cup in Victoria is another race that he'll be looking at. But good to see he's back, the champ.
Yeah, it's good to see as well, Pete, that we've got so much happening in the greyhound racing industry the next few months and also early in next year. And we'll have David Hunter on a little bit later to chat about the Sandgroper slots. So you never know, Elite Machine might be heading towards that way as well, but that's still in the future. Plenty of time to think about it. But let's get straight into our first special guest of the day. We've got Kylie McLennan joining us. And Kylie, a very good morning for you. Thank you for coming on.
Good morning, Pete and Leia. How are you?
You're going very well, Kylie. We're bringing you on. First of all, we'll find a little bit out about yourself a little bit later on. But first of all, to talk about your position with WAGBOTA, the West Australian Greyhound Breeders, Owners, Trainers Association. First time we've had you on since you've taken up the role, leading the team. Tell us what your role is with WAGBOTA and who you have in supporting you.
Okay, so I've been the president for the last probably 18 months. Was re-elected only a month ago. I think the main thing with WAGBOTA is like communication between the industry and back to our trainers, the new Mandra track, any issues that we have. You know, we want safe racing. We're exactly, you know, you hear the antis carry on about safe racing. Well, there's no one more concerned of safe racing as our trainers and our owners. So, yeah, putting a voice forward from the perspective of a trainer and an owner and a breeder, myself, putting that forward and getting Greyhounds WA and also RWWA to, you know, jump on board and you know, give us a few more facilities that we can train our dogs with and really look after the welfare of our dogs, as well as the well-being of our trainers. You know, we've got to make sure that our trainers are okay as well. But I just think communication is just a huge step in the right direction.
And that communication,
the whole industry.
Yeah, and that communication, Kylie, the voice you're talking about, you have that strong voice, don't you? Because you have you're on committees with Racing and Wagering WA and also with Greyhounds WA. Tell us about that and how often you actually meet with them.
Yeah, so I'm on the RWWA Greyhound Consultative Committee that we meet every 3 months, putting forward ideas, making sure that greyhounds get our fair share of, the profits that are going back into the industry, as well as, being in good communication with Greyhounds WA. We did meet only a month ago, and we put a lot of ideas towards Greyhounds WA, things like the shade sales at Cannington, which becomes a welfare of the greyhound issue. And I've been told that after so many years, they're finally going to be installed in November. So that was one good plus. And then, looking after our trainers as well, like vending machines and stuff like that, so that, our trainers don't have to keep on, going off track to get meals and stuff like that. And I've just joined the welfare of the Greyhound committee as well, in which we had a meeting last week, and that seemed to go really well as well. Everything is, it looks good. WA is really, really good for our racing industry.
Kylie, you mentioned that safe racing is a priority for WAGBOTA, but the safety and well-being of the greyhounds off track is also just as important. And I follow you on social media, so I know what you post and how supportive you are of that. And you mentioned, I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, that you had the random kennel inspection done by RWWA. And of course you passed with flying colours, but no other breeder of dogs do that. And it's interesting, isn't it? Because we have a lot of people have their own perspective of what greyhound racing and the breed is and the industry, but it is the only breed that does have inspections because we care about the animal itself.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. We live in a kennel area where we've got Golden Labradors, we've got Dalmatians, German Shepherds Association, with so many different breeds. But we're the only one that, someone actually comes in and makes sure that our brood bitches are comfortable. They make sure that all of our kennels are the right size, the dogs are in good condition. And I mean, they come in and they check your kitchen. They make sure that your fridge is clean, even right down to little things like that. Whereas I know that the other breeds, they don't have that. And also with the Shire, there's the extra, you need extra fencing when you're a greyhound trainer. But boarding kennels and other breeding, other breeds, they don't need that. So we have all these different rules and restrictions. And I'm a stickler for there's a right way and there's a wrong way. And if you do it the right way, you got no problem. And that's the way I look at the industry. We're doing the right thing over here in WA. So no one really needs to be worried about, drones flying over and stuff like that. Do the right thing. We don't have anything to worry about.
Exactly right. How's it been? You must be pleased that Mandurah is about to come back online. How difficult has it been for the trainers from your point of view in having just the 2 tracks? A lot of racing's been done at Cannington. Obviously, it's been helped out with Northam. Oh,
I cannot wait for Mandurah to reopen. For us, we're only 10 minutes away from the track. Having to drive up to Northam, a lot of us do go up twice a week. I know my petrol bill has gone up a good $230 a week in petrol alone, just to, the continual driving either up to Northam or up to Cannington. Because not only that, you've still got to trial your dogs as well. So you're driving to Cannington to trial. I cannot wait for it to be open, and it's looking good.
It's looking
very good.
Yep, looking forward to getting it back. David Hunter will be joining us shortly from Racing and Wagering WA, and we'll ask him the question in regards to the new track at down in the Peel region, how that is progressing. Just before we let you go, how long have you been involved in greyhound racing? For our listeners that don't know Kylie McLennan, I'm sure they've seen your name alongside the winners at all of our tracks in Western Australia for many, many years. But how long have you been involved with your family?
Okay, so my husband worked for the Greyhounds 28 years. We started owning greyhounds probably about 15 years ago when we had like the likes of Ricky the Robber and a few of the other robber dogs. But actually training, I've been training for 13 years, and we had the likes of Roxy Mac, and of course I can't forget my little Domino Mac, who was an equal track record holder at Mandurah, and he's loving life. He's in the backyard. He thinks it's great.
Great to have you on this morning, Kylie. Good luck with Wagbotter, and you're doing a wonderful job. Keep up the good work, and we're looking forward, like you, to Mandurah Greyhound Racing returning at the end of the month.
Exactly, and safe racing to all.
Good on you. Kylie McLennan joining us, and good to have her on board. And I didn't realise she'd been there for 18 months. I knew she'd just been voted back onto the list, but time flies when you're having fun, Leia, and it's good to have them on. And they do a great job getting the voice from within the industry and being able to take that to RWWA and also to Greyhounds WA at their regular meetings. Speaking of doing a good job, David Hunter is about to join us, and we heard the great news. David, as we say good morning to you, we heard the great news last week that the slots are opening up again, and there may be even a slot or two available for the Sandgroper.
Pete, Leia, very good morning. Thanks for having me this morning. Yeah, exciting times as we head towards the Tab Touch Western Trilogy in 2024. Spot on, Pete. We're putting together the slots at the moment. Fortunately, the Nullarbor for the trots is all done, so that's one we don't have to worry about. We've got, looks like one slot in the Quokka to sort out, and there'll be plenty of applications for those. And the Sandgroper, what we've got is 4 confirmed slots at this stage. There's a couple of slot holders from last year that we're still waiting to hear from, but there will most definitely be at least probably 2 or 3 slots in that race that'll be up for grabs and open for applications right now.
Can anyone apply for it? So is it just for businesses, or can individuals apply? And last year we saw a syndicate with the Rams having a lot of success and making a lot of noise out.
Yeah, absolutely. Open to anyone, whether that be a company or a syndicate or an individual. If you want to shell out the $44,000 and buy a slot, absolutely, we'll take an application for anyone for the race. And of course, the terms have got more favourable than last year, with the race going from $500,000 to $600,000 this year. That additional prize money has gone back from 5th to 8th or 5th to last. So you're only looking at you run last in the race, being out of pocket $10,500 this year. So you will get most of it back. Of course, you've got to do a deal if it's not your greyhound with someone else and share that. But it's much more favourable terms this year, and anyone that's wants to have a chat about that should reach out to us. We're happy to run through it.
I'll go through what the prize money split is in a moment. Still $300,000 for first, down to $33,500, which you were mentioning. So that $12,000 difference or $11,000 difference. You listened, though, didn't you, RWWA? So the industry and the participants came to RWWA after last year, the 3 slots, and there was a couple of issues. One for the greyhounds that we raced on the same night as the harness, and you've listened there and have made a change.
That's right, yeah. So Thursday night for the greyhound race is a standalone race. I think it'd be fantastic down at Cannington. We looked at whether we went to Mandurah, whether we stayed at Cannington, what the distance of the race was. But after having a chat to the club and a bit of consultation with some of the industry, we felt that the best outcome was to leave the race at Cannington over 520 metres, but bring it forward that one day so that it's not competing with the Nullarbor at Gloucester Park the following night.
And the other important thing for all 3 was the fact that if you didn't come in the first 3, you're basically losing a substantial amount of money, and you've been able to increase across the 3 codes the prize money down to 8th, so $33,500 for 5th to 8th, and a $44,000 outlay from the beginning makes it a lot more favourable for people.
It does, yeah. We had an intentional strategy there, similar to with what they did with the Everest when they introduced it, to make it a bit tougher in year 1. So you got the Dinkum people that wanted to be involved in the race, and then give them the option to be in future years and invest some more in the race and make it more favourable for everyone. So I think we've landed in the right space now with the 3 races and covering probably 75% of your cost, albeit you've got to do a deal with someone else if it's not your greyhound, of course. So it's not as straightforward as just doing the maths that you do have to share the prize money with someone else.
David, we were having a chat, Peter and I, just before about how strong our greyhounds here are in WA at the moment. They've been travelling over east to represent us. Of course, we've only got a couple of slots left. What is the process for selecting slots, and do you have a biasness towards certain people who maybe haven't participated before that you want to give an opportunity to, or what is the way you guys select a slot holder?
Yeah, so it was easy in the first year because by chance we got around about the same number of applications as we did slots available. So even though we had a criteria, we didn't really have to invoke it. This year we will have a criteria that we'll measure them against. That's going to be particularly relevant for the Quokka, where there's only one slot and there's going to be stacks of applications, I feel, for it. A little bit easier in the Greyhounds because we may have as many as 3 or 4 slots up for grabs. We'll be looking at a number of things, but one of the main ones is what you can bring to the race as a slot holder in promoting it to, particularly across the country. We want this race to be, probably the biggest race for greyhound racing to come out of WA. And so the marketing side of it is very much what we'll be looking at, what you can bring to the race. Interstate slot holders, bringing greyhounds in from over east also means that the punters often follow having a bet on them in our race as well. So we'll be weighing all that sort of thing up as we go through it. I don't feel we'll probably be overrun with applications for the Sandgroper slot. I think if you put one in, you're a very good chance of getting it. So I wouldn't be frightened away that we're going to bias eastern states over locals or anything like that. I think you'll find we'll probably just make it home in that race.
Oh, wonderful. And you mentioned the promotion. I know sometimes the owners go, we've got a big presence on social media, but is it also dependent on the greyhound that they choose? So, for example, Tommy Shelby, of course, doesn't race anymore, but he had a huge following on social media. Everyone over east would dress up as Tommy Shelby characters and everything. So sometimes it's about the greyhound that they select as well and what following they have. So, for example, in the Quokka, Amelia's Jewel's been massive over east as well as over here. So would it also not just be who the owner is, but who the greyhound is that they select?
Yeah, I guess we don't know when the slots close who the greyhound will necessarily be because that comes later. But, someone like Steve Withers and Tommy Shelby, in terms of, perhaps selecting one of his progeny to go in there and getting the story behind that would be something that we would look at favourably and something we could do with. And, yeah, Amelia's Jewel's probably a fantastic example with the Quokka that you're close to, of course, that, it's that race has sort of taken her to the country, across Australia, really, and that's what we want. We want the good greyhounds, the good horses to run in our slot races, and then hopefully travel and take the profile of our racing everywhere. And we saw that with the winner of the Sandgroper going to, I think it was the Brisbane Cup, wasn't it, and winning last year.
Yeah, running third, Elite Machine ran third, and then went to the Brisbane Cup.
That's right, ran third. Sorry,
Crumble Manelli, of course, winning it for David Hobby, and also for the Total Container Solutions, who have got a slot in the Phoenix later this year in Melbourne. We're not allowed to ask Leia, just on a different point, we're not allowed to ask Leia which way Amelia's Jewel's going. Maybe you can ask her whether Amelia's Jewel's going to the Cox Plate or the Golden Eagle. Anyway, back onto this. So the Sandgroper, how do people, and also the Quokka, there's still a slot available in the Quokka as well. How do our listeners go online to actually apply for a slot?
Yep, visit the website, westerntrilogy.com.au. There's a little link up the top there to the Sandgroper and the application form there. If you're not great on the website or you can't find it, just give Cam Brown in our team a call. He's coordinating the slots this year for us, and he'll be very happy to help you out over the phone and sort it out. He can email the form out, whatever you need, or if you've got my number, give me a call. We'll do anything we can to get you involved.
Yeah, very exciting last year, and so this year or next year so the race is going to be held on Thursday the 18th of April. The Wednesday, will we still have the function at Optus Stadium? We will. So that launch event that was on the Thursday last year, we'll bring that forward a day. We don't want that event to be clashing with the Greyhounds. I think a lot of us struggle to do back up after that to something else. So we'll have the big launch event on the Wednesday, likely to be at Optus again, into the Thursday at Cannington, and then off to the Trots and Ascot on the Saturday. So a huge 4 days, and I imagine the barrier draws. It'll be too late, of course, for the Sandgroper. That'll have to be earlier, but likely for the other two codes to be on the Tuesday. So it's all going to build up to that massive end of the week. Looking forward to that. So that's the Sandgroper, and the race is on the 18th of April. You can go online to thewesterntrilogy.com.au. We spoke, and I'm not sure if you heard any of the interview or most of the interview with Kylie McLennan. One of the topics that was raised was in regards to safe tracks. And recently there was a symposium over in Melbourne where straight tracks were, and RWWA had a function here in Perth, or a seminar here in Perth, and a discussion point which you're at was about straight tracks. There's been a discussion on a straight track in Western Australia. Is that still progressing?
Yeah, absolutely. We've purchased some land down near Pinjarra where potentially that will go, adjacent to the harness racing venue there. There's a whole lot of work got to go on before we'll be building anything on that site, including the rezoning of the land for that purpose. But yeah, the planning's going on for that right now. You won't see any action down there driving past for a while, as I say, so people shouldn't think that nothing's going on. There's a whole heap of work going on in the background for that right now. We've got some consultants engaged that are putting together plans for the site, including all the rezoning stuff for the Shire of Murray and through to the Planning Commission, and design, what things would look like, etc. So, yeah, there's a whole lot going on, but you're not going to see any building works down there for a couple of years, I wouldn't think.
Okay, so when would you anticipate we would have a straight track? What are we talking, 2026?
It might be, what are we heading for, 24 now? It's probably more likely a year longer than that, but we'll try and bring it together as quickly as we can. But the wheels of planning, I wouldn't just say in WA, but generally across this country move very slowly. So the rezoning process is going to take a while to get that through, but that's being initiated right now. We've got a list of requirements from the Shire of Murray that we need to meet, and we've got the consultants busily putting that together now.
Can you add anything to the welfare seminar that was held just a couple of weeks ago? It was the first one that RWWA has actually conducted, and there was industry participants and people from outside the industry, vets and scientists and so forth, that have come from all around the world that came across to. It was held at Ascot. Can you tell us about that? Yeah, I thought it was a fantastic session on I think it was the Wednesday. We did the Greyhound Welfare Forum, and then the following day we did an equine one. Anna Smet, our head of animal welfare, did a really great job bringing that all together. And it's important that animal welfare and greyhound welfare is something that the industry has an involvement in and has input into it. It's not just something that is seen that RWWA imposes on the industry. We've all got to own it, and whether that be trainers, owners, the club, and those from outside the industry that really do keep a close eye on greyhound racing. We all need to be in it together. We know that we're in a really good space with greyhound racing here in what we do for our dogs. We need to make sure everyone owns that and is part of it.
David, Peter and I had a chat to, I believe it was James Vandermart, not so long ago about straight racing in Healesville, and you guys just touched on the welfare as well. Of course, welfare is priority, but what went into deciding whether or not, because we actually had this conversation as well about how straight racing is not as, I don't want to use exciting as straight track, well, as race tracks with 1 turns or 2 turns, but because it's just straight, not too much happens. So there was a conversation around turnaround with races that are just straight track races. Turnover. So what went into going, okay, this is going to be worth pursuing for the WA industry?
Yeah, I'm not close to all the numbers on it in the East with the straight racing, but for us, the commercials have got to be put to the side, and it's about the welfare of the greyhounds, and we know that the northern track isn't optimum, and that we need to move out of there over time. We've done some remedial work up there to help, but it's not our future. We need to have a straight track so those greyhounds can move around. They can run on a straight track 1 week, then go to the probably the 1 turn or 2 turn track, and it's just that wear and tear, I guess, on the bones, etc., which is better for the greyhound from the research that we're told. The commercials of it are certainly secondary. We want to have safe racing in WA for our greyhounds. If that means that we do lose a bit of turnover on the way through by running on a straight track, we can live with that. It's not something that's front of mind for us. Thanks for coming in. Looking forward to, it's still a little way away, the Sandgroper, but the slots will be closing in on the, I think it's the 18th of October. And you can go online to thewesterntrilogy.com.au and register your interest, and hopefully we sell those couple of slots. Tab Touch having a slot this year? Yeah, absolutely. Tab Touch, Sportsbet, Ladbrokes and Ram Racing are 4 that have already signed the paperwork pretty much the day that it was put out to be involved, and a few of those across the 3 codes, which was fantastic. But just those last 4 to tidy up, and I'm sure we'll get there. We're fully committed to seeing a successful Sandgroper in April 2024. Looking forward to it. We've got some very exciting greyhounds, as you mentioned. Leia, the $1 Million Chase semi-finals this week across in Sydney, so looking forward to that. We'll take a break. That's Greyhound Gossip, and Leia Ernest will be back with Race Day after this.